I'm Brevet Major General John Hart. I'm going to give you a little information about my life and my background. I'm a native of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, born there in 1830. I've spent most of my life there in Norristown, Pennsylvania. Primary education is there, as a matter of fact. 1853, I graduated from Union College in Schenectady, New York, with a degree in civil engineering. 1854, I am married to my wife, Sally Sebring, who is from Easton, Pennsylvania. In 1854, I become a deputy sheriff there in Montgomery County until approximately 1858, at which time I take up the practice and study of law, in which 1860 I am admitted to the Montgomery County, Pennsylvania bar. 1858, I am actually part of the Pennsylvania State Militia, lieutenant colonel in 1858 and ultimately a colonel in 1859, colonel of a regiment in the Pennsylvania State Militia. So this is the beginning of my military interest and my military career. April of 1861, after the beginning of the Civil War, I raised a regiment referred to as the 4th Pennsylvania Volunteers, all members of Montgomery County. The 4th Pennsylvania Volunteers is a 90-day unit, and we are mustered into service in April of 1861. 90 days thereafter, obviously, is in July of 1861, right around the time of the First Battle of Bull Run. In fact, on July 20th, almost 3 months to the day, my regiment decides that they would like to go home because their 90 days have expired. It is very difficult for me to accept this fact. I talked to my men, tried to convince them to stay, but in the end, some want to go home, some want to stay. So it is entirely inappropriate really for them to stay, and they do go home by July 21st. I decide to stay, along with 4 other individuals are from the 4th Pennsylvania. And we do stay, and I work with Colonel Franklin in his brigade of General Heinzelman's division, for which in 1886, for my valiant conduct there, I am awarded the Medal of Honor. Upon my return, I formed the 51st Pennsylvania Infantry in September of 1861, which will literally serve with the 9th Corps throughout the entire war. Some of those places in which I served include Burnside's expedition to the Carolinas, also at Antietam in 1862. In fact, it is my regiment, along with the 51st New York, that takes Burnside's bridge. 1863, my regiment is at Vicksburg, Mississippi. In 1864, my regiment will be at the Battle of the Crater at Petersburg. In 1865, I will command as a major general, I should say as a brigadier general, the 3rd Division of the 9th Army Corps, and I will have the division that blunts and finally stops the last major attack of General Lee at Petersburg, and ultimately, hopefully, ends the war, finally in April of 1865. For my actions there, I'm breveted immediately to the rank of Major General by General Grant personally. After the end of the war, in April of 1865, based upon orders from President Johnson and the Secretary of War Stanton, I become the commander of troops and also the commissioner of the military prison at Washington, D.C., the old military prison. And it's my responsibility for the care and maintenance of all the Lincoln conspirators there. And on July 7th, 1865, it is my responsibility, in accordance with orders from President Johnson, to hang the 4 conspirators, which I do. Following the war, I come back to Pennsylvania and I become the 17th governor of Pennsylvania from 1873 to 1879, and I will die in October of 1889 at the age of 58. And that ends my story. Thank you for listening.